Okay, recording. So let me ask you another question. Regarding you, Maritza, you don't live in Calexico, so they always mention that. Why are you involved here in Calexico politics? And another thing that they bring up is that during your tenure as a politician, that you did many bad things, right? So you want to address those things?
Well, all they got to do is prove it.
The representative wants to answer for me.
If it's true, let's prove it. Let's bring all that information. Put it out there.
Okay, so sad story.
Like, for example, the JPIA.
Okay, well, you want me to answer one at a time, don't you?
Well, right. I'm just kind of giving it because they're going to say, oh, you didn't mention exactly what it was.
One at a time. You got three right now on the table.
Okay.
All right, so I don't live in Calexico. I'm a 40-year business owner. 40 years. I started my business in downtown Calexico 40 years ago when I was 19. And so every day that I work, I am in the city of Calexico. And you can't say that for many other people that are on that council right now because some of them don't work and others spend their days outside of Calexico. I am in Calexico all day long in my office. I have 10 staff members. I have a space that I love. It's a 3,000 square foot space there on 2nd Street. It's a family business and I love it. It gives me the opportunity to meet and network with a lot of different people in the community. I'm a business consultant, so I see people all the time. I love my job and I'm here during the day. I was born in Calexico. I'm a Calexico Bulldog, probably more than anybody that tries to contradict me. And I've always been the way I am. Always been very vocal, very involved. I've always done Facebook videos, even before meeting him, I was always like that. I was always concerned about promoting different things in Calexico. Like when the outlets became the outlets, I remember very clearly that somebody out there made kind of a little snarky remark at me related to this council that it seemed as if I was getting paid by the outlets, for example. It's always going to be something like that where people can't believe that there's energy like mine that's real, that's raw, that's natural, because I just love my city, that I'm not looking for a paycheck. And that's where a lot of times it's offensive because everyone will say, oh, Maritza's looking to get paid. And you know, something like that just happened recently with the nonprofit that Mr. Solano and I started, right? So, you know, I drive a Ford, a really beat up Ford, so it's not as if I'm rich. I don't drive a Mercedes-Benz. And so I'm that way because I was raised that way. The way that my parents raised me was a very, you know, we're not competitive people. We're just wanting to be happy in a small city like ours. We're business people. My grandparents were business people. The Hurtados are major business people in the city of Mexicali. So many of the people that I know is because my family and because of networking and because of who I am with the energy that I have. I met Mr. Solano 2 years ago, and when we just started the recall. However, there are commissioners, I believe it's Angela Moreno that says that he was my commissioner back in 2010. I didn't know him. So you know, a lot of people want to, but you know, that's always been the way it is because they've always said that, you know, they're curious on how I live my life, on how anybody that may be a powerful person lives their life. However, I do want to remind everyone, I'm not powerful anymore. You know, I don't have a position anymore. I'm just an advocate. I met someone that has a lot of energy and a lot of other people that have the same energy. Not everybody's still with us because, you know, we are very strategic people. And what you guys see as far as what's happening is the strategy that I am used to doing and what he's used to doing and other people that we count on to get all of this stuff through, right? So as far as being someone who is impactful, yes, I know I make an impact, and that's what they fear. Mm-hmm. They fear that I am here, so it's important to demonize me so that whatever I can contribute to my community, because I consider this my community, and it is very simple. Very simple. All I got to do is move back. That's all. And as an empty nester, I wish I was an empty nester, right? I live with my adult children, and so that is how I live, and I don't think I need to explain to anybody how I live and why we moved to El Centro, but it is a little bit of a sad story, and it does have to do with after they lost their dad. They lost their dad on his birthday. He had a heart attack on his birthday, and he was helping us here in Calexico in a huge project where there was a home that was infested with like 50 homeless people that took over the neighborhood, took over that home, and I was hired for that job, and he helped me. Me and him still had a really good relationship even though we were divorced for a really long time. And he helped me out to clean out that house of those homeless people. But my kids fell in love with the home because it was an older home and it had character. And so after he died, that's what we looked for. And the type of home that we found was not in Calexico, that was fulfilling what my kids wanted for that memory of their dad. And it's not the funnest thing to live in an older home because I'm not used to that. But I'm doing it in memory of him and for my kids. I don't want to get emotional or anything like that, but that's what that means. Why doesn't money to live in Calexico anymore? It's not that I don't want to. I feel so like a fish out of water. I do. I just feel so awkward. The shopping's pretty cool because there's a lot more shopping that's closer to me. But as far as my network, my friends, the faces I've always seen, I get them during the day. But once I leave then, I go home and I have dinner, I go to sleep, and I'm back at it again. So really, what am I? I am a stakeholder no matter what. I have an investment, a huge investment in this city, and if I were to move that investment out of the downtown area, you'd have another building that'd be empty one more time.
Yeah.
So it's very insulting for the mayor and her group to continue to insist that I don't live here, because that is not inviting to other investors that want to bring their money to Calexico, because they will see how they treat a person like myself that's been a mayor twice. And, you know, all of that is very immature, very lacking of professionalism, executive critical thinking. That's what we need right now. We need the executives to be on their best behavior, and they forget that I'm not an executive. I'm just a general person. I could do whatever I want. And they also forget that ever since we started that recall that we started happened after my ex-husband died. And I already lived in El Centro. So we happened to manage a whole recall when my family, all of us, my son, my daughter, and I, we all lived in El Centro. And we drove over here every single day to walk the streets and get those signatures and work the recall, which many in that group abandoned us, criticized us, is no longer with us because they weren't handling any of the responsibilities we did. And so it's kind of ungrateful, ingratos, right? That we still don't live in El Centro, but it was convenient for them, right? Because look at them, they're in the position that benefited from all the work that we did, right? And of course, I still lived in El Centro. It wasn't an issue then, right? But because we are definitely revealing a lot of the information that's necessary, that they're being very ingenuous, not serving the community, obviously, like with this park closure. So when we come over with our advocacy, well, of course they got to demonize us, right? That's the easiest thing to do. But that's actually the only playbook, you know, that they've got, is to demonize certain people. And that's really sad because, you know, in a whole year that we've been watching this already, we haven't seen anything good. You don't see these people out in the community. You don't. You see Mr. Solano and I out in the community. And so, I mean, every opportunity that you have to do good in your community doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, because it's 5 people. And in order to be able to have things happen, you need to have harmony. And so, unfortunately, that harmony doesn't exist on the city council right now. And it's evident. And that's not our fault. That is the personalities that were elected. And so we're just a little, you know, probably sidetracking everyone from actually realizing that we have dysfunction in the city council. So who cares if Mr. Solano and I are dysfunctional? We love it. We're human beings. We're funny, you know. We met you the last day of the recall, remember? You didn't know who we were. You hadn't even know my son. You're the one that caught him dancing, remember? Because we were so happy that day. Our intention that day was to have a great time, right?
We did have a great time.
No, I mean in the future of supporting the council. However, immediately upon entering, Team Calexico decided to bully us. Team Calexico decided to call us names consistently, right? And pressure the city council to basically, you know, remove him for whatever. And so we fight back. And the way that we fight back is continuing to do what we always do.
That doesn't stop me. Being a commissioner is one thing, but even if I'm not a commissioner.
That's what I was saying. We're going to continue doing.
I told Madam Chair Commissioner Padurena, okay? I will continue supporting you. Whatever project you want to do, I'm supporting you, okay? Anything that I do, it's under the supervision and the approval of the Community Service Commissioner, Madam Chair, Patricia Ureña Pat, okay? And also, I continue having a good relationship, okay, and an open door policy with Jose Saldaña from the Public Works Department. He's the supervisor. The same thing, I've had a good conversation with the Public Works Director / engineer. The reason that we kind of took a break was because during the summer, it's kind of hard to be out there, okay? Especially the kids from the probation department. Now, as you recall, after the storm, that roof came off of the dugout at Rodriguez. I contacted Mr. Villegas by phone, by email, Mr. Saldaña too. I contacted the carpenters, okay, and the carpenters responded first. So Mr. Villegas says, I got too many priorities after the storm, but we'll get to it. I contacted the carpenters. He tells me, Fabian tells me, I got an approval. Let's do it. Okay, that was on a Wednesday. By Saturday, we were out there. Okay, taking care of that roof. Why? Because there's so many
Part of the
priorities.
solution.
Yeah, so many priorities that.
Hey, but did they take the keys from you?
No, I got the keys, and that was the one that opened the gates and the one that
Why don't
closed
they
it.
take the keys from him,
Okay.
Carlos?
And the-
That's the question. If he's in
And
violation, take the keys.
The same thing when we were restoring Rodriguez for 13 weeks or 12 weeks. Okay, I was out there opening. I was the first one to open, the last one to close. I would call Saldaña.
You should
Saldaña.
invoice them.
Well, no. Okay, I would call Saldaña. Saldaña, send the crew down here. Your guys, they pick up the trailer and the material and go back to the shop. But I'm going to continue doing what we're doing. As long as that probation department continues sending kids down here, we enjoy it when they come to here. They enjoy it. Why? Because we feed them. Why do we feed them? Because we appreciate what they do for the community. We love and we appreciate what they do for us, so we respond. Okay, we respond by buying them pizzas, sodas, Gatorades, water. So be it. All that comes out of our own money. That money is.
But you're engaging the youth in programs that
Exactly.
help. So but it goes to show that you're such a great guy, Mr. Solano.
Yeah.
I'm right behind you. I'm always supporting you and everything
Thank
that you've
you.
done.
Yeah.
But there's so many questions that are offensive towards him. And what it is that we do. I'm not sure what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to behave.
Another thing that is said about you is that you're the reason why the city lost the insurance. Is that true?
Oh, there you go. Why did you go there, Carlos? Come on.
Hey,
There's-
I'm supposed to ask the tough questions, right?
There's 5 council.
I'm gonna answer.
There's 5. Yeah, you can answer. There's 5 council members
Yeah.
up there. Okay, come on.
Yeah.
Blame one person.
Yeah,
Give me a
hey,
break.
that's what they say. Hey, it was all your fault.
Okay, shoot.
That's what they say.
Respond.
Is that
I'm
even
gonna
a
answer.
possibility?
No, I'm gonna answer like Karen. Prove it. Prove it.
Okay. Well, I'm not saying that.
No, I'm not saying to you.
That's what.
I'm saying to them.
That's what Javier Gonzalez says.
Right.
Where's the facts?
Shit,
Where are the
he
facts?
says I have 9 million.
Right. That's I was gonna ask you that too.
Oh my God.
The 9 million.
Yeah.
Didn't.
We would have had already
No.
bought ourselves a house, and I say ourselves because I would have married him.
Yeah.
And we would have bought a
Oh.
house over in Maui or something.
But
we would have already invested in Maui or something. Buying the actual.
But Maui burned, so I don't know if that's. Wait, was Maui that burned?
My heart burns for him. It's okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, really? Oh my goodness.
Well, it's because it's so funny. Honestly, to not be funny is like it's that
Just
long.
imagine a baby.
Okay, wait a minute. Since 2010
Imagine you guys had a baby. That would be so cute.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No.
No. No. So, wait. So, what were we?
Okay. So you're
blushing now, you're blushing now.
Oh no, you asked me about the insurance.
So
about
the insurance, the 9
Yeah.
million, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What makes me laugh is that we're talking about people who criticize that are non-financial, non-legal. Okay, they don't know how to read legal stuff, and they have no idea how to read financial documents either, right? So, but then I'm the one that's supposed to explain. But then I guess what it is since I talk so much that maybe I should explain, right? But the thing is that back then was so complex. It was really complex. But I think that our mayor should answer herself too, because she lived it too. And the reason that I tell you that she lived it, she was very present in those years.
A question, didn't she sue the city?
That's what I'm getting at, is that in those
Big bucks, huh?
very big bucks.
Okay, well, because they say that you sued the city too.
Yeah, prove it. But if you ask me to prove, I could show you right now. You want me to show you right now? That Diana sued the city. And
Well, I've seen
the reason
those
I know that she sued the city is because I introduced her to the attorney that she hired. And so during those years, there was a very, very severe situation in the police department. Very severe. And if you're going to ask me for me to tell my truth, I'm going to tell you partially. We had a council that was favoring the things that were going on very bad at the police department. What does very bad mean? Stealing. There was a huge operation where, not operation, racketeering thingy, embezzlement, where we had a few of the officers that were acting inappropriately. They were abusing the overtime systems, not only in the city of Calexico, but also in other programs that they were participating throughout the Imperial County. And of course, that kind of stuff, I can't talk about that kind of stuff. The way that I was used to working there, even though it was highly dramatic, everything that was happening, it was really important not to talk about what was happening on the inside, because number one, it's about staff, and I was used to not talking about staff ever, because it's just a no-no. That's why when the mayor that we have now went after our finance director, she went after the city clerk and made them cry and all of that. That's just wrong. You just don't go there. You don't mess with your staff. That's the first level of humans out there that you need to respect.
Yeah.
And so
If you're going to have a conversation like that, you put them on the side, you ask permission to the city manager and tell them, I want to have a conversation with the human resource, finance director, the grant writer, or whoever, planning director, okay?
So-
have a conversation in public, in private, not in public. You don't show off, okay? You don't grandstand in public. Okay?
Correct, because then that's when you get the lawsuits. So when I walked into City Council in 2010, we already had a backed up amount of workers' comp cases that weren't resolved. We had plenty of those. We didn't have a system that was flushing those cases out. It was a high priority for that insurer to keep watching us, and like they said, to watch the council, because a lot of councils in California were going towards bankruptcies at that time. Ours was close to that as well. So JPIA started realizing
So
that
it wasn't only Calexico. There was
a lot of different a lot of cities were on verge. Yeah, we had just come out of the 2009 situation. Yeah, there was a huge housing market crash, which is what I experienced when I bought my house there at Hearthstone. But the circumstances in our city were that we were, trying to go into, first of all, modernizing a few things. There was two concerns, which was our police department, that apparently, we had a lot of eyes on that department. And when I came in, then it got worse, because then you saw those officers misbehaving really bad. They were purchasing banners out there, with devil horns and, just going after council members with their union money, I guess, and it's like that wasn't appropriate, because the Calexico Police Officers Association is not supposed to be political. So a lot of people were like in fear because they saw that the police officers were, rearing an ugly head. That's not appropriate usually for your law enforcement force in such a small city. So then they started paying a lot of attention to us, I guess. Then we started seeing the lawsuits internally from them, because they had an internal war. Those officers were fighting amongst each other for power in there. And so then Diana realizes that's happening. She shows up to City Council, I don't remember exactly when, maybe 2015 or so, and she initiated a recall against Luis Castro and Jung Kim, which were the two heads at that time. And she knows that. She is acting like she doesn't remember, or that we're not going to remember that she was there too. So I was City Council, and Diana was a resident of the city trying to do a recall. But again, her recall failed. And so after her recall failed, she did sue the city. So her lawsuit...
It failed because why? She went to jail?
Yes, and so her lawsuit was one of many lawsuits that piled up on us. Besides that, yes, I was involved in many, many situations with my counsel of abusive behavior towards me, where they would call me names like Queen, Queen, you think you're the Queen during meetings and things like
Who
that.
called you that?
Mr. Kim. Mr. Kim. So
But maybe he saw you as his queen.
he's married. And he eats a lot of garlic, so no, I don't like that. So you know, it was. I didn't realize what it was, Carlos. I think we should do another interview another day. But that was a lot of pressure.
Okay.
But that's how the situation was so severe that then that's what I was telling you earlier, that the manipulation of the city council agendas was occurring, and the JPIA was there with us every single time. They were there with us. They didn't let us go. They wanted to make sure that we had a program that was going to bring us back from that.
Mm-hmm.
So they made sure that we started having meetings, that we were talking to each other, that we were learning law, that we were learning our limits on, like, you know, what could we do on social
But
media.
what happened? The council was not in compliance.
The council was not in
They did not want to
compliance.
comply, simple as that.
Yes, but
it was
then-
not just one council person, it was 5 people that were involved there.
So at one point, we had a council member by the name of Mandy. Okay, Mandy was not a very nice guy to me, I guess, or to anybody else. But Mandy Real, Armando Real, decides he's going to bring cannabis to the community after all of this even. And he made sure to put the cannabis on his family's property, you know, around it, of course. But Mandy decides that, you know, he doesn't like the city manager, and he basically grabs him by the shirt and shoves them out. So we had lost 3 primary head positions, okay? And when that happened, we were trying to avoid that. We were trying to tell him.
There, you put yourself at high risk.
Yes.
Just by doing that.
Because we had so much overturn. I had 8 city managers in 8 years. And so these people were trying to tell you guys, hey, stop with the instability. Stop with the instability. However, because that chief was unraveling a lot of the certain situations of more corruption, they fired him. And they fired the chief, they fired the city manager, and they fired the engineer. All 3 in the same week. And when that happened, we lost the insurance. Mm-hmm. That's what triggered the final end of it. And so to blame me, I'm not too sure how that happens, especially from people that didn't live it, because nor the mayor nor Team Calexico lived the experience. And that's what I think is just hilarious, when people try to tell me what happened, the life that I lived, the experiences that I lived, and that I really haven't really told those stories very much out there, because number one, they're kind of incredible to believe that, you know.
No, but well, the thing is, they got to prove it now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're speaking out. They got to prove it. They got to prove it now.
Yeah.
Where's the proof?
So this situation here, you know, with the instability that they have right now, right? That the mayor has made several people cry, right? That there's a lot of instability that is very visible in the dysfunction that they have. They're very rude to each other on council. They're never going to get the insurance again like that. They need to show that they learned.
But aren't they already getting it?
They have like a really shitty one right now. It's like a, you know, whatever kind.
Okay.
What JPIA is, it's a collective, and it shares coverage.
Right now,
Because the city did,
right now, Calexico
did
is
come
not
out.
considered high risk,
Yeah,
but it's
right.
not a done deal. Okay, we are still in jeopardy. Okay, we need to upgrade what we're doing. Okay, we need to correct our behavior at council level. If not, we're gonna go back to the same position where we were.
Because remember, you can get sued because of behaviors of a council, right?
Okay.
You can get sued, right? Because remember, your council members were out there selling permits for cannabis, and somebody went to jail. Okay? So did I try to avoid that? Yes, I did. I didn't want cannabis to come to Calexico. I didn't feel we were ready for it, and I didn't believe that it was a moneymaker for us, because there is just no way that anyone in the city of Calexico would want to pay an 18% tax on cannabis when
You go to Mexicali.
yeah, well, I wasn't going to say Mexicali, ¿verdad? But it is rampant to get it without the tax.
Yeah,
So,
that makes
but
sense, yeah.
But at that time, I was outvoted. I was the minority. But I did learn how to, speak as a member of the minority. I think that's really important, is that people know that even though you have 3 votes as a majority, you also have a minority. And the minority on your council should have a way to learn how to speak up and be able to be seen and heard, because this is a democracy and it's not about just one narcissistic mayor handling everything, but that's the way Calexico has been. So, congratulations, Diana, because nothing's changed.
Okay. Do you guys have